It's Friday, August 19. In the headlines, GDP increases by 5.7%. Marcus Garvey celebrated. Regionally, 4 Trinidadians fined and released stemming from the Harbour Master incident. And in sports, West Indies women ready to take on New Zealand. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I am Simone Absalom Gale. The country's gross domestic product performance grew by 5.7% during the April to June quarter. That information from the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ. Director General of the PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, speaking at a quarterly briefing on Thursday, said that growth was largely influenced by the continued removal of COVID-19 containment measures, increases in agricultural output, improvements in the markets of main trading partners, along with improved consumer confidence and employment.
Other factors which contributed to the improved outturn included 1. Increases in hectares reaped, which facilitated growth in the agriculture industry. 2. Continued improvement in the markets of Jamaica's main trading partners that facilitated increased demand for industries such as hotels and restaurants, transport, storage and communication, and other services. And 3, increased employment and consumer confidence, which supported higher levels of domestic demand.
August 18 would have marked more than 100 years alive for Marcus Garvey, but even in death, he continues to be greatly celebrated on his birthday. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, spoke highly of his ideals in her presentation at the floral laying ceremony at Heroes Circle. Raquel Robinson has the details.
Minister of Culture Olivia Grange lauded the deceased hero's life philosophy in front of a number of public officials, including his own son Julius Garvey, and members of the government, including the likes of Governor General Sir Patrick Allen, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and Opposition Leader Mark Golding.
Marcus Garvey's greatness has been anchored in his lifelong determination to restore dignity and integrity to the masses of African descent people who, through fierce determination and relentless resistance and rebellion, were able to defeat the colonial forces and bring freedom to our people.
Minister Grange highlighted Garvey's deep desire for learning, through which he unearthed his own ancestral past and, in turn, impacted the lives of millions in the future.
Garvey taught himself to read. Through reading, he discovered the true grit and pedigree of Africans who were forcibly transported to Jamaica. Because of the self-knowledge and pride it inculcated in him, he set about within his own philosophies and teachings to encourage our people to read at least 1 book per week, thereby reading 52 books each year. From him, all that we need to know to be able to play our part on the great human stage of activity in the world is found in books.
As he discovered his past, he discovered his passion for learning and thought of education as a personal responsibility.
For him, education was about self-discovery and commitment to the development of self, community, and nation. In his own words, education is the medium by which a people are prepared for the creation of their own particular civilization and the advancement and glory of their own race. The education he prescribed must allow our people to discover the greatness of our history and our culture.
CEO of the RJR Gleaner Communications Group, Gary Allen, has been inducted into the Caribbean Broadcasting Union Hall of Fame. The announcement was made at the opening ceremony of the union's 53rd General Assembly on August 15.
Mr. Allen, who has spent nearly 4 decades in the media industry, has worked in print, broadcast, and digital communications. He received his start as a rural correspondent for the Jamaica Gleaner in the mid-80s. He lauded persons who were significant in his professional career and assisted him through his varying roles at these organizations.
I commence with my friend, my former boss, former chairman and mentor, for more than 20 years, Hall of Famer J.A. Lester Spalding. I'm grateful for the contribution that he has made to my development and to my growth. Also grateful for the contribution made by another Hall of Famer, Rafi Khan, who was consultant at the time when I joined the CBU, and yet another Hall of Famer, Hugh Chumley, who worked with a number of us on the establishment of the Caribbean Media Corporation.
He reminded those in attendance that there are people in his personal life who would have contributed to him achieving his goals.
I acknowledge the grace of Almighty God who has blessed my life and blessed my career. I thank my family, especially my wife, Eulalie, and my sons, Jared and Jordan. Eulalie and Jordan are here with us today. Eulalie, Jared, and Jordan have been around the CBU for so long. In fact, I think, Eulalie, we were around the CBU when you were pregnant with the first one. And I think everyone recalls them growing up. They are no longer growing up. One is an adult away studying. The other is here constantly pointing out that he is now taller than I am. They have allowed me, my family members have allowed me to immerse myself in media, to travel and to be involved in projects and media affairs all over the world for over 3 decades.
In 1993, Gary Allen was hired by CVM Television to become the youngest manager of news, sports, and current affairs in Jamaica media. Many career leaps later included, but not limited to, his role in 2000 to the then newly created Caribbean Media Corporation and VP for the Board of Directors at the RJR from 2006 to 2017. He championed the enactment of the CBU bylaws and was given the recognition of the Order of Distinction Commander Class conferred in 2017 under the Jamaican National Orders and Awards Service to National Media. He championed the enactment of the CBU bylaws and was given the recognition of the Order of Distinction Commander Class conferred in 2017 under the Jamaican National Orders and Awards for Service to the National Media Sector. Mr. Allen joins the likes of Tony Cozier, Ken Gordon, Dame Olga Lopes-Seal, Gordon Butch Stewart, and others.
The Jamaica Association of the Deaf is the inaugural recipient of the proceeds for this year's Jamaica Poetry Festival's 60th anniversary dinner. The 12th staging of the JPF was held at the AC Hotel in Kingston on Sunday, and the charity dinner was the new activity within the day's activities. World-renowned jazz and blues pianist Monty Alexander and Grammy-nominated artist Skip Marley showed their support with virtual appearances. Dr. Michael Abrams and the festival's conceptualizer Yasser Safari intrigued the audience with some edutainment and social commentary in their pieces. Here are some highlights.
Heroes who will stand up for we youth. Because to tell you the truth, them in a bad way and them lost. They need direction, guidance, and protection, and this must be done at all costs. Because from them pan breast and from them a toddler, them say few good role model, but whole heap of muggler. Roughneck skettle and worthless sample. In the public eye, I said bad example. Dishonest and weak leaders who sit on the fence and broke rules and laws with no consequences. Those with integrity in positions of authority now appear to be fading into the minority.
Poetry is just one of those important avenues of expression. And I want to say that in my case, when I play my piano notes, I'm thinking as poetically as possible, because this is how you express yourself. So it's not the lyric and the words, it's the notes of music. And I identify with events that, as we say in Jamaica, big up the art form of poetry.
I word sown is power. Right from Jamaica, the world's farmer cultural superpower, straight to Saudi Arabia, the mecca for the petrodollar, where the blood of Isla boil and the money get too bloody. The greed gets so thick that them think them slick, while corruption a dance pan them face, caress them cheek, and kiss off all them bloody lip. In a democratic dictatorship. Neuro-linguistic programming, psychological conditioning. False menu them serving. I know them not pay for them food, yet them still a tip. Blood money at the tip of a whip, and the devil is the captain of them ship in a democratic.
In the business report, Jamaicans assured reduction in chicken prices will be passed on. We have this report plus other updates from Danita Rodney.
Retailers and restaurateurs are attempting to assure Jamaicans that the chicken price reduction announced by Jamaica broilers on August 18 will be passed on to consumers despite a fear they may not benefit. Although global food prices are falling based on past experiences, Jamaicans do not believe prices will go down as quickly as they were hiked and are anxiously waiting to hear when those price reductions will start to reflect on their grocery bills. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, August 18, the US dollar sold for an average of $151.91. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.71. The pound sterling traded for $180.49, and the euro sold for an average of $154.83. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Thursday's trading session. The JSE index declined by 122 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index advanced by 5 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 60 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 414 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 112 stocks, of which 42 advanced, 47 declined, and 23 traded firm. Stocks advanced for Access Financial Services Limited, Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited, and Caribbean Cream Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 1834 Investments Limited, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Blue Power Group Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders: Pulse Investments Limited with over 350 million units, Lumber Depot Limited with over 6 million units, and Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 3 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Plico Investment Fund was the only active security with over 90,000 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, their securities were traded. In international business, Sierra Leone is denominating its currency to reset the economy. The central bank has removed 3 zeros and reprinted Leone notes, saying this will reduce the volume of cash people carry around and related risk. More from Al Jazeera News.
After some confusion, businesses are slowly adjusting to the new leones. The country's central bank says the redenomination of Sierra Leone's currency has been necessary.
So the magic of redenomination is that when you take those zeros away, people start thinking that they are poorer than they actually are. And as a result of that, they will bargain more when they go to buy goods and services. That should put a lead on prices a little bit.
Some economists say the idea can only work if government doesn't return to the policies that led to the collapse in the value of the money in the first place.
In market data for oil prices slipped after 2 days of gains and are heading for weekly losses as a strong dollar and concerns about a global economic slowdown weigh amid soaring inflation rates. Brent crude futures were down $1.99 at $94.60 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude was at $88.67 a barrel, down $1.83. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, 4 Trinidadians have been convicted in Grenada for the assault of athlete Anderson Peters. They were each fined 5,500 EC dollars on Wednesday morning. By noon, fines for all 4 had been paid and they were released from police custody. In this CNC3 exclusive report, Charlene Ramprasad spoke to Harbour Master Captain Noel Cooper as he explains how it all started.
These individuals were asked repeatedly. It was almost as if we had to beg them to depart the vessel. However, they weren't too pleased with that, and statements were made immediately, continuously, to us, slurs such as expletives. They attacked our nationality.
Noel Cooper captains the Harbour Master Party boat. He is one of 4 Trinidadians now convicted in Grenada for the assault of national athlete Anderson Peters. All 4 were fined 5,500 Eastern Caribbean dollars each, or around 14,000 TT dollars. Thanks to their employers, their fines were paid and they were released by noon today. Cooper says this brawl started because Peters and his crew wanted to stay on the vessel for its next event after a party last Wednesday.
If they were interested in attending the other sailing, they would have to dealt with the promoter. However, once the cruise is over, once the vessel is docked alongside, the music is cut off, the cruise is over. And once the cruise is over, you are expected to exit the vessel because you have no reason to be on the vessel after that.
He believes the incident was blown out of proportion, but says he holds no ill will against Peters or Grenada. Cooper says despite the public sentiments against them there, he and his crew were treated extremely well by officers of St. Paul's Police Station, where they were being held. He says he will not pursue charges against Peters.
I have since have a change of heart. Everything worked out well. Thanks be to God. He worked it out. Indeed he did. And, let bygones be bygones.
Cooper could not say what was the status of the civil claim against him, the crew and the owners of the vessel.
In St. Kitts and Nevis, newly elected Minister of National Security and Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew says strengthening the police force is a key aim of his cabinet.
On 16th August, Prime Minister Drew spoke with members of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. All ranks of the force were represented at the meeting, in which he also took the opportunity to thank all the members of the establishment.
In due course, I will make announcements about improvements in essential functions and structures, including conditions of work. But first, as Minister, I must take advice about the general situation and trends. Therefore, alongside my cabinet, I will be engaging with the top ministry officials and your high command. My friends, none of us is immune to mistakes and missteps. I know I will make my share as a human, but I navigate the uncharted waters of governance on our ship of state. However, it is my goal, and I ask that it be yours as well, to use our mistakes and missteps as opportunities for improvement in all that we do. I sincerely look forward to engaging all of you in the coming months and years so that we can share ideas and discuss ways and means of improving policing here in our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I want to say thank you once again for agreeing to be police officers and to be public servants. With your help, I know we will transform St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force into a paragon of excellence and the envy of police forces throughout the region.
It was the first opportunity for the new Prime Minister to meet with law enforcement officers and to hear firsthand many of their pressing concerns.
President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Hyginus Jean Leon, calls on youth to diversify their tourism products. He says thinking of tourism in the traditional way will not cut it.
We limit our minds almost certainly into thinking what tourism is. If you say, what is the tourism product? Everyone can say, well, it is simply about tourists coming enjoying the beach, the hotels, maybe a few tours, and that defines tourism. But why limit it to that?
He argues that transforming the tourism sector requires digitization and innovation. He believes boundless opportunities exist in the digital space.
Even I would argue, let us break that barrier of thinking as tourists as only physically entering a space. Thinking of a new definition of digital tourism. If you have a digital tourism product that you are talking about, then the whole world becomes your stage overnight.
In Antigua and Barbuda, the capabilities of the security forces will be boosted by the end of this month, when a closed-circuit television system becomes operational.
Closed-circuit television, otherwise called CCTV, will soon bolster security on island by providing better monitoring of movement. The Honourable Melford Nicholas, who has responsibility for information, communications technology and digitalization, says the CCTV technology will be implemented within 2 weeks.
The Cabinet did as well receive an update from myself about the improvement and the renovation of the closed-circuit television network that we have. That includes surveillance at the prison, and it is expected by the end of this month, when the project is completed, that not only will the the Royal Police Force have their own unique surveillance monitoring system, but they will also be joined by the ONDCP and the Army as well.
He describes the administration and proposed benefits when the system comes fully online.
Monitoring and maintenance and control would remain with my ministry, but it will give each of the law enforcement agencies an opportunity to have their own individual surveillance and to ensure that each of us can be kept as safe as possible under those circumstances.
The Information Minister has long touted the importance of the technology, particularly in the area of border security.
In international news, Apple users are being urged to update their devices immediately. They issued the call after discovering software flaws that allow hackers to gain access and take control of the devices.
They hold so much of our personal information, but it could all be seen by hackers, thanks to a new flaw discovered in the Apple operating system.
Every Apple user, should be concerned.
The company has warned customers worldwide that most iPhones, iPads and Macs have two serious vulnerabilities that could allow intruders to impersonate the owner and take control, hinting in a statement that it's already happened. This issue may have been actively exploited.
Running malicious software in particular on your device without your knowledge and running as if it was you. So absolutely the worst situation you can have.
The likely targets the rich, famous and influential, like politicians.
You're not going to waste it targeting the average punter. It's the kind of thing where it will be looking for high value targets.
If it was criminal gangs, there would be particular targets in particular, organizations that they would try to target for financial gain.
To fix the issue, you need to update your Apple product software to the latest version. You might have your device set to do that automatically, which could happen overnight. But the recommendation is don't wait. Do it immediately.
It offers that protection and the problem then goes away.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
In sports, veteran cricketer and head coach of the West Indies women's team, Courtney Walsh, says he wished his team had played more cricket ahead of the series with New Zealand.
I'd have loved to have a touch more cricket, if I'm going to be brutally honest. The thing is that we'll have to start picking the squad before the CPL concluded. But we'll have a chance of looking at players that we can bring in. But in an ideal world, I'd have loved for CPL to finish before we go into the New Zealand series, so we could have judged them from the CPL and then take them into the series, but that's not the case. So we'll have to pick from what we have, look at the combinations that we have to suit us best. But the good thing about CPL being involved is that it will give us a chance of seeing some more players play, more exposure, and then obviously if there's any injuries or any replacement that might need, depending on how the series is going, we can always bring them in.
West Indies women will meet New Zealand in 3 one-day internationals and 5 T20 internationals starting next month. When asked about the chances of the ladies winning, he had this to say.
Well, I'm looking for another competitive series. Obviously, we want to win. We want to win every series that we play, and that's the only way we're going to rise and get above. So I wanted to be competitive. Once the girls give 100%, and we're satisfied with that, then we can always look at where we can improve as well. So it's always trying to improve and trying to win every series that we're playing.
The 3 ODIs will run from September 16 to September 22, with the T20 internationals scheduled for September 26 to October 6. All matches will be played at the Vivian Richards Cricket Ground in Antigua. Jamaica enjoyed a dominant win over the Windward Islands on Wednesday afternoon during the Cricket West Indies Rising Stars Under-19 Boys 3-day championship being played in Kingstown, St. Vincent.
Jamaica 265 all out in their first innings, then turned around to dismiss the Windwards for 172, a first innings lead of 93. The Jamaicans then built on that lead by amassing 229 for 5 before declaring on Tuesday afternoon in their second innings with a mammoth task of accumulating 322 runs to win. The Windwards lost 2 of their top batsmen before close of play on Tuesday, including Akeem Ogist, the second leading run scorer in the competition. By lunch on day 3, they were all out for a mere 121, losing by 201. Ogist had 66 runs in the first innings, and Tariq Edward took 3 for 62 in Jamaica's first innings, whilst wicketkeeper Noel Leo hit a useful 33 in the second innings, but just way too little too late for the Windwards. They're not in a great position, having earned a draw in their first match and now a loss, and having lost first innings points in both fixtures.
Barbadian jockey Christopher Husbands claimed a $63,000 purse at Woodbine Track in Canada on Sunday. Husbands rode War Count to win race 5.
Good start, Warcourt out wide, shooting for the lead Factotum. Factotum clears them. Warcourt second, Toronto tight on the inside, trap wide Larac. Spring Mountain moves up nicely in the centre, and over on the outside is Collaborative, and Robitaille is last as they turn out the stretch, caught a little deep as well. Showing up is Factotum, swings into the turn by a length and a half to Warcourt. On the outside Larac, and back on the rail Toronto Titan from Spring Mountain. One away is on the inside Collaborative, and Robitaille is at the back. Factotum's rider, Jason Hoyt, sneaks a look round, and up on the outside, Larac is second. Third is Warcourt. 2 lengths behind them is Spring Mountains having a good trip. Toronto tight on the inside. And another 2 lengths away, second last, Robitaille. And on the inside is Collaborative. They're pretty much in pairs, except for Warcourt, who lobs behind the top two, and out in front on the inside, Factotum by a half to Larac. 2.5, now 2 to Warcourt. Toronto tight and creeps closer on the inside. Getting behind is Spring Mountain by a length, and on the inside, Collaborative. And last is Robitaille. As they hit the 3.5, sharing the lead, Larac breathing down the leg of Factotum. A length and a half to Warcourt's had a top run in third and is coming. On the inside, Toronto Titan tries to go with Warcourt. A length and a half, Spring Mountain, as they are stretched after these leaders. Back to the tail end, both on the inside, Collaborative and Robitaille, the outer. 3 abreast as coming is Warcourt. Out in front, Larac narrowly with Factotum the rail, and Warcourt a line of 3, and now 4 wide goes Toronto Titan. Warcourt burst away, raced out in front. Toronto Titan going into second spot, and Warcourt clear by about 2 lengths. Toronto Titan's the only danger and is trying to run this leader down, is coming on gradually. Warcourt in front, Warcourt full of run, and Warcourt goes on to win. It was a 2-horse battle, and Warcourt wins a length and a half. Toronto Titan 8 lengths away, Spring Mountain third, then Factotum, Larac, Collaborative and Robitaille 144.96.
Basketball player LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year US $97.1 million contract extension through the 2024 to 2025 season with the Los Angeles Lakers. His agent made the announcement on Wednesday. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul said the league maximum deal makes James the highest paid player in NBA history. His new deal includes a player option that would keep the second leading scorer in NBA history with the Lakers past his 40th birthday in December 2024. The 37-year-old James is headed into the final year of his most recent contract with the Lakers, who signed the 4-time NBA Most Valuable Player and 4-time league champion in July 2018. The new deal means the 18-time All-Star will make $46.7 million this season. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.